The same a few hours later. The stage is in darkness, though light tapping sounds come from John, who is locked naked in the chapel. When these stop, the hall door is hesitantly opened and Ralph enters, swishing on the lights. He crosses to the chapel, tries to open the door, looks puzzled, then realizes it's locked and unlocks it. He is dressed in his cassock and carries another over his arm.
Hello? Hello?
What kept you?
I wanted to make sure they were all asleep.
Where are my clothes?
They're still in the washing machine. They're still very damp.
Shit, I suppose.
I told you this.
What for?
But you'll have to wear it.
I'm not going out in a bloody dress.
But I'm sorry, but it's all I could come up with. I find your behaviour utterly offensive.
Look, sweetheart, I'm not walking into the YMCA dressed in that.
They wouldn't let you in at this time of night anyway. They have their rules, you know. You'll have to wait till the morning.
Outside?
That's your problem. You must have known there was a curfew.
Wonderful. Where's your bed?
No, you're not sleeping there.
I'll get up and leave
No,
early. Oh, come on, Father. Forgive me, for I haven't sinned.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You've brought this all on yourself by your own willful lust.
Well, let me tell you, you've been worse than the other 99 of this year put together.
Put on the cassock and get out.
Out bloody where?
Ralph, still holding the cassock, goes over to the hall door and listens.
Come on, tell me where I'm supposed to...
Shh! Someone's listening. Here.
Ralph throws the cassock, which falls far short of John.
Hide!
Ralph runs into the study. John, still naked, makes an unsuccessful lunge to get the cassock and darts back into the chapel as Mrs. Ash enters from the hall.
Is that you, my little... Oh.
There's nobody there. Mrs. Ash looks around again, notices the cassock and folds it tidily, putting it down on the back of the Chesterfield, sighing.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Mrs. Ash is about to go out again when Frank's hand comes around the door, feels for the light switch and turns the lights off.
Naughty.
Oh, I thought they'd be turned off. I'll turn them on.
Someone must have left them on.
What are you doing down here?
As if you didn't know, sexy.
Oh, God.
Frankie no want lickle ickle nookie with Marfy?
No, I am,
And after Marfy went all that trouble too.
Mrs. Ash pulls open her cosy woolen housecoat to reveal a somewhat sexier nightie.
Oh, my. Where did you get that?
You like it? George brought it. Said he wanted me to have it. A bribe it was. Why he should think that I would want to stay with him just because he bought something to make him feel sexy, I couldn't tell you. I think it's disgusting, especially in a man his age. Do you like it?
Yes, but not just at the moment. Mrs. Blair's going down.
What for?
Oh, no, not that. No, she said, well, she turned to me just as we were all about to go to bed. I mean, we were alone, but she said she'd known me in Brigton.
Oh, didn't we all?
She said that she had my son.
Oh, rubbish. I had your son.
I don't think she meant the same one.
Well, John's your boy, all right. He's got that funny mark by his... Cool. I had to tell George it came from my father's side of the family, though we've never really had any history of physical imperfection.
No, I don't doubt that John is... But she said that he had one too.
I thought she looked a bit common. Bit of a slut underneath that veneer. You can always tell. A woman can tell.
Look, anyway, she's coming down in a moment. She whispered to me to meet her here after she'd gone to bed.
After she'd gone to bed?
She'll leave her husband.
She's not living here.
No, she's leaving him in bed once he's gone to sleep.
A slut. Mind you, I can't say I blame her completely, Frank. You're a good-looking man. Always have been. And her husband's even older than George.
I'm only going to talk to her.
I should hope so. You're mine. Or would be if marriage was made in heaven. I feel sorry for her in a way.
She mustn't see us together like this. No. I mean, together in the middle of the night. It wouldn't look good.
Oh, pity.
Just for tonight. Just keep it hot for tomorrow. It looks good.
Go on, feel it. It's silky, but it can be machine washed.
Martha, oh, I burn for you.
As the Archdeacon goes to kiss her neck, there is gentle knocking on the hall door.
Is that you?
Oh my God.
Frank grabs the handle so that the door can't be opened.
It's her. Hide. Go to the chapel. I'll tell you when it's safe to come out.
Mrs. Ash runs into the chapel. As soon as she's gone, Frank opens the door to let in Mrs. Blair.
Ah, I really must have something done about this door. Oh, it sticks badly. Oh, I managed to free it. Now, tell me.
I've always tried to imagine what it would be like if I saw you again. I kept wondering whether I'd recognised you. I often wondered whether I'd passed you time and time again in the street and not recognised you. Oh, I knew I hadn't really. There isn't a day that I don't think about him. You. And now it seems so long ago. And it seems like yesterday, too.
But tell me, I mean, what happened? I mean, you are married.
That was Mummy and Daddy. I met you at the Pony Club summer social. It was a bit of a dare from my friend Anthea. Nobody knew who you were. You showed me the lime pits. And then you went off to sea. You said you were going, only I was pregnant. Mummy and Daddy were horrified, but they made the usual arrangements. I went to Whitstable until the baby was born.
Whitstable?
I kept the baby for 3 weeks, but then they had it adopted. I wanted to keep it, but Daddy said that was out of the question. He said he wanted to horsewhip you, only I couldn't tell him your name. Just that you'd gone off to sea.
No, you're sure?
Sure?
That it was mine?
It is you, then?
I suppose it must be. But you're sure that...
Of course it was yours. I wasn't the kind of girl to go doing that with every Tom, Dick or Harry. Just one stupid night with you. And besides, the baby had that funny mark by its penis, just like yours. Don't you remember? Oh, you wouldn't remember. I asked you whether all men had one like that. Oh, I wanted to keep the baby so that I could look at that little mark and think of you and the lime pits. But then Mummy and Daddy had this wonderful idea to marry me off to Cuthbert. Cuthbert! A sort of penance, I suppose. So the baby was adopted after about 3 weeks, and I became the perfect vicar's wife.
What do we do now?
What is there to do?
You never...
Told Cuthbert? No. I've never spoken to anyone about it since Mummy and Daddy have been dead. It's just a sort of relief having found you. Just to talk about it.
You didn't have any other children?
No. Of course, we did it in the early days. But I didn't want children after. And once bitten, twice shy. I'd found that precautions can and should be taken. My life ended when I married him. Not that it's unexciting, being married to a diocesan exorcist. Endless drama. Loonies ringing at all hours. One woman kept trying to burn herself on bonfires at the bottom of the garden. Just her unhappy marriage, really, of course, but William Peter Blatty has a lot to answer for.
Who?
the man who wrote The Exorcist. And of course, there is a sort of macabre fascination to the never-ceasing realization that Cuthbert actually believes it all.
Why don't you leave him?
And do what? My life was taken away from me. Whatever life I might have.
Ah! Oh my God! There's a naked man in the chapel!
A naked man?
In the chapel! I saw him!
Oh, now, Mrs. Ash, calm yourself. What were you doing in the chapel?
What do you mean, what was I doing in the chapel?
Yes, what were you doing in the chapel? I mean, it's late.
Oh, no, I was praying. And what were you doing down here?
I couldn't sleep, and then I heard you scream, so I came to investigate.
You were quick about it.
We both heard you scream and came to investigate.
Well, you'd better investigate then. Oh, Frank, in the dark it looked just like our Johnny.
Your Johnny? Your son, you mean? Mrs. Ash has a son, John.
Yes. Do you think it was a vision? Like at Lourdes?
Not if it didn't have any clothes on. I'd say she's been drinking.
What do you say?
Let's see what it looks like with some light on the subject.
Do you think it could be him? Do you think something awful has happened to him? And he came to me in the chapel, naked as the day he was born?
Oh, it would be a little unorthodox. Let's go and have a look.
They go somewhat hesitantly into the chapel. Frank first, followed by the two women. After a moment or so, the lights come on inside. John backs out at speed. A moment later, Ralph peeks out from the study.
Psst. Why don't you just get out?
It's me mum.
What?
Me mum. In the church there.
What? Mrs. Blair?
No, Mrs. Ash, Martha Ash. She left me dad 2 years ago. We've hardly...
Oh, don't talk rubbish. Watch out. They're coming.
Ralph goes back into the study, shutting the door. John is left stranded.
Hey, what about me?
John leaps behind the curtains yet again as Frank, Mrs. Ash and Mrs. Blair come back in. Frank has his arm around Mrs. Ash.
There, you see, Mrs. Ash, there was nothing. I'm locking the door. There. That's all there is to it.
But I saw him, Frank. It was a warning. A divine regression for leaving him.
How now, Martha, don't distress yourself so. He was 24.
Was?
Is.
I should never have left him. Oh, my poor little Johnny.
Look, I'll see her to her room. Wait for me here.
Frank takes Mrs. Ash out of the hall door. Mrs. Blair is left on her own for a few moments. She wanders around the room, eventually going over to the stage right end of the curtains and pulling them to one side so that she can look out into the garden. John moves as far as possible from her, possibly becoming even the other end of the curtains. The hall door opens slightly. Gerald's hand feels inside and turns the lights out.
Oh.
He turns the lights back on.
Frank?
Mrs. Blair hides behind the curtains. She's actually in the furthest from us, and John edges completely away from Mrs. Blair and dashes for the chapel door. It is locked. He freezes as Gerald, his glasses hanging on the chain round his neck, comes in and heads for the drinks cabinet, oblivious of John's naked presence.
Frank, I'm sorry, but I just can't sleep, so I thought I'd have a little nightcap. Okay, Gerald, what would you care to have? Oh, thank you, Frank. I'll have a nice large port and brandy. Thank you. Well, cheers, Gerald. Thank you for leaving it open, Frank. You're welcome. What the fuck's the use of being a bishop if you can't have a small drink from time to time? What indeed, Gerald? Well, I have broken the wine press alone. Now, a little for the road? Well, thank you, Gerald. I don't mind if I do. Cheers! My God. Jones, what on earth are you doing?
Huh?
Oh, goodness sake, you won't tell the Archdeacon about this, will you? I'm not supposed to drink. And you know, but a little nightcap can't hurt me, can I? You'll have me jogging next. I say, what are you wearing?
Gerald crosses to John, peering and feeling drunkenly for his glasses. Mrs. Blair peeps out between the curtains and looks at the naked John.
The mark! The mark!
He starts to pull Gerald's hand down his body. Gerald starts back slightly.
Later. Why are you talking like that? You look from over there as if... My God! You are naked. Well, as the heart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee. Tell me, why are you wandering around stark naked in the early hours of the morning?
I was looking for the bathroom.
Well, you won't find it through there. I say, I don't remember you having a moustache.
It grows very quickly. Feel it.
Oh, well, no, I...
Feel it.
He starts to pull Gerald's hand down his body. Gerald starts back slightly.
Later. Why are you talking like that?
Like what?
That funny accent.
It's my natural voice.
So the stuck-up temperance bit is just an act, eh? You know, this puts a completely different complexion on things. You are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Want summit?
You're outrageous, boy.
You're not so bad yourself, Daddy. Want to come up to my room?
Well, my room's more comfortable, I think. At least that's what all the other boys have told me. I wish I had something to put on, though, just in case we'd be...
Here, I'll put that on.
John goes over behind the Chesterfield and picks up the cassock.
I wouldn't do this for everybody, you know.
John puts on the cassock.
Gird up now thy loins like a man. You've done this sort of thing before, then.
John goes over to the study and maliciously locks Ralph inside.
Oh, yes, Bishop. You'll be my 100th this year.
The old 100th.
Not that old.
I'm not sure that those sorts of numbers aren't carrying things a bit too far, at least for a place like Southingdean.
Gerald crosses to the hall door.
We'll have to see.
John pinches Gerald's bottom.
We'll have to keep the noise down. We don't want old Blair thinking we're something that goes bump in the night.
Gerald and John exit, closing the hall door behind them. Eventually, Mrs. Blair peeps out from between the curtains and very cautiously starts to make her way towards the hall door. Ralph tries to open the study door. When it won't, he bangs it gently, then more and more frantically. Mrs. Blair, fearing that this will bring someone, runs back behind the curtains. Suddenly, Dr. Blair flings the hall doors wide open and comes in his dressing gown.
Enough, Malabar! Enough, I say! Don't wake the whole house. This is between thee and me.
He crosses to the study door and listens for a second. He tries the door.
Locked.
Hello?
It speaks. Avaunt!
Mrs. Blair has been peeking at this from between the curtains. As Dr. Blair turns away from the door of the study, she shuts the curtains and he notices the movement.
Aha! By the window. Come out now. Reveal yourself, Malabar. Reveal yourself.
Mrs. Blair comes out from between the curtains, sighing.
All right, Cuthbert. I can explain.
Ah, Mary, my Mary, not that. Avaunt, Malabar, avaunt, avaunt.
I'm not Malabar.
Come not near me. The power of Christ compels thee.
Cuthbert, enough of this. I'm just...
Dr. Blair suddenly convulses with a massive heart attack and collapses dead on the floor.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God!
Mrs. Blair sinks down on the Chesterfield. Frank enters quickly.
I managed to calm her down. Now she...
Frank falls headlong over the body of Dr. Blair. He inspects the body.
Oh, mon Dieu. It's your husband. I'm afraid I'm afraid I think he's passed on. How?
I've frightened him to death. He thought I was. I came out. I frightened him to death. Perhaps there is a God.
This is in poor taste.
And do you know something else? That young priest is our son. He was here stark naked and he had the mark.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That young priest, your son and mine. He went off with the bishop.
With the bishop? Oh, I don't think he'd be going off with
The priest is our son, and I frightened Cuthbert to death.
You're hysterical.
Yes, I think I am.
Mrs. Blair starts to laugh again, then screams and screams. Mrs. Ash runs in.
What on earth?
And falls headlong over the body.
Oh.
Mrs. Blair roars with laughter afresh. Mrs. Ash speaks to the body.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. Oh my God, he's not moving. It's her old man. Is he?
Gerald and John come in. As soon as John sees that Mrs. Ash is there, he turns his face away from her.
What on earth is... I need a drink.
It's Dr. Blair. I'm afraid he's...
I frightened him to death.
I'm afraid he is.
Oh, it makes your flesh creep.
I beg your pardon?
Mrs. Blair, you mustn't blame yourself. She's hysterical. Martha, look, why don't you take her down to the kitchen and give her a cup of strong, sweet tea whilst we decide what is to be done.
All right. Come on now, pet. I told you it was an omen.
Mrs. Ash starts to usher Mrs. Blair out. Mrs. Blair turns at the door.
Let me just have one last look.
There, Chuck. There. Don't take it so badly.
Well, what's to be done?
Well, we'll have to get the police, I suppose. Isn't that the usual thing?
Not a good idea.
Why not? Jones, your moustache.
You think we oughtn't to ring the police?
Well, it could be awkward. Stiff on the living room carpet in the middle of the night.
But it was natural causes.
Looks a bit fishy, though, don't it? Could be a little awkward.
It might be a little awkward, Frank. Present press relations being what they
I
are.
suppose so, but what the hell else can we do?
Why don't we put him back to bed? Let him die of natural causes in the middle of the night. It's usual.
I suppose that might...
But what about Mrs. Blair?
True. You think she'd mind it?
What?
Sleeping with the stiff till morning. Then she can find him, and you can call whoever. Less awkward.
Well, I suppose so. Wonder if she would. It's not as if they're in the same bed.
I thought they were married.
Well, what are they doing down here anyway?
Oh, I've no idea.
Really?
Look, I don't want to bring this up now, but you don't look.
What?
Doesn't matter. You look different. The moustache
grows
quickly.
Yes.
Well,
Frank.
Well, I suppose Ralph has got a point. Let's shift him back upstairs, and I'll go and explain the plan to Mrs. Blair, and we're going to go back to bed. Here, Ralph, you take his feet.
John and Frank exit with Dr. Blair into the hall. Gerald goes and pours himself a drink. Ralph cautiously tries to open the study door from the inside. Gerald notices the movement and does a take. Ralph gives up. Gerald unlocks the door and steps back swiftly, hiding out of Ralph's line of view. Ralph comes out of the study and tiptoes towards the hall door. Gerald fakes a gun in his dressing gown pocket with his finger.
Take one more step and I fire. Put up your hands. Who are you? Turn around.
It's Ralph, Your Grace. Ralph Jones.
Nonsense. Ralph Jones is taking a dead body upstairs. Who are you?
But I am Ralph Jones. The man taking Dr. Blair upstairs is an imposter. He's an intruder.
Ah, so...
You know full well he is, and I know what he was doing with you. It disgusts me. In your position.
How did you know the position?
I was listening at the study door. He locked me in.
So, an eavesdropper as well as a hypocritical prig.
Don't you dare speak to me like that. I just had a momentary weakness. I'm young, whereas you...
I am a man of like passions with you.
But you're the bishop. You should set an example. I shall tell the world.
And now what sort of example would that be?
I'll show you for what you are.
My dear boy, I am the Bishop of Southingdean. You can't for one moment imagine that anyone would believe you.
I'll tell the press.
Do you think they don't know? Look, can't you get it through your thick proletarian Puritan skull that...
John appears at the hall door behind Ralph and stands listening, unseen by either Ralph or Gerald.
I am the Bishop of Southingdean. Nobody will believe a word you say except those who know it already. Why, I could probably get away with murder if I wanted to.
You...
My dear boy, for the first time in your miserable life, you've fallen on your feet. I have to admit you're not the curate we thought we were getting. I pulled a lot of strings to help out a friend. You should by rights be Trenton Jones.
Trenton Jones? That stupid oafish.
Probably, but this position would at least have kept him out of harm's way. As it is, he's probably been shunted off into some East End mission where he'll do irreparable harm. The kind of place that the likes of you ought to be by right.
I'm not afraid of the Lord.
Oh, for God's sake, don't start spouting scripture. I'll put it to you straight. Shut up and stay here in the Bishop's Palace and live off the fat of the land, or...
John has momentarily disappeared. At this point, John suddenly reappears and brings a walking stick down savagely on Ralph's head.
Good God.
John steps into Gerald's line of vision.
Looks like I've caught a burglar.
What?
It looks like I've caught a burglar, an intruder.
Look, I don't know who you are, but...
Call me Ralph.
Ralph? But you're not Ralph.
You'd better start calling me Ralph. I'm applying for Ralph's job.
Ralph's job? But he's...
John checks the body.
Snuffed it. I didn't know my own strength.
You've murdered him.
Call it a mercy killing. For him. For you. For me. Now, I'd better get him into my clothes before the police come. We'll have to get my mam to iron them.
You're...
Mrs. Ash. She's my mam.
You mean you're Frank's son?
My dad's name's George, boring old fart.
But he's not your real father.
How do you mean?
Well, if you're Mrs. Ash's son, then I believe that your real father is the Archdeacon. Why did you come and see your mother tonight?
You mean that bloke who was here just now?
Yes.
My dad? Well, do you know, I've always known that the old fart wasn't really my father. I mean, my mum has always told me how the family was sanctified, and so why should she have left my dad if he was?
But why did you come to see your mother tonight? And why didn't she tell us?
She doesn't know. She doesn't know I was here. I came with him. Met him in the cafe.
I knew that was a low place.
I'd rather you didn't tell my mum about me and him, or about me and you. She doesn't know.
Hey, quite. You shouldn't have hit him, you know.
Oh, lay off. He was a burglar.
But he's...
No. Repeat after me. He's an orphan, right?
He's an orphan, yes.
Not many friends.
Not many friends? Not any friends, I shouldn't wonder.
No one will recognise him because he only arrived today.
No one will recognise him because he only arrived today.
My mum will identify him as me.
Your mother will identify him as... Why should she?
Because she's my mum, and this way I'll be able to live here with her and my dad, if he is my dad.
I'm pretty certain of that.
Well, there we are then. I broke in.
To get the silver.
Which she told me about.
When she came home to see you.
Did she?
Well, she just got back tonight.
I must have just missed her.
But who killed Ralph?
Ralph did. That is, I did, except it was Ralph.
Oh, but Ralph is dead.
No, I'm dead.
I think I need a drink.
Look, it's easy. Think of me as Ralph and Ralph as me.
You being...
John Ash.
Oh, how do you do?
Very well. Right. From now on, I'm Ralph. No one here has met me, right?
Except Dr. Blair
Who's dead?
and Mrs. Blair.
I'll have to think about that.
So what do we do now?
We tell my mum and dad, and then we call the police.
Seems a bit dicey.
Look, you're the Bishop of Southingdean. You could get away with murder if you wanted to.
So, let me get it straight. This dead man, Ralph, is now John Ash, an intruder who came here to steal the Southingdean silver after his mother told him about it, and...
Got apprehended by me, Ralph.
Jones?
Is there a reward
Reward?
for saving the silver?
Virtue is its own reward.
Only when there's now tells.
So what do we do now?
Frank enters hurriedly.
Oh, mon Dieu, what?
Dad!
What?
You're my dad! The bishop's told me.
What?
You're...
This is John Ash, Frank.
John?
Ash!
Dad!
John tries to embrace Frank.
Now, wait a minute.
Hold your fire for a minute, yes, John.
But who's that?
Ralph.
John Ash.
John
Well,
Ash?
Well, it's Ralph, or rather it was Ralph.
What happened to the poor...
Make little weeping for the dead, for he is at rest, and the life of a fool is worse than death.
But...
So he's John Ash. Now?
You mean this is my son?
Oh, no. This is your son.
This is a burglar.
Came to steal the silver.
Oh, mon Dieu. How did he get in?
Oh, don't worry about that now, Frank.
But it looks like Ralph. You sure it hasn't been a mistake?
Not yet. There will shortly. Frank, meet Ralph.
But...
Look, I'm Ralph. Now, Ralph is... No, listen, Dad. He's an orphan, right?
He's an orphan, yes.
Not many friends.
Not many friends. Not any friends, probably.
No one will recognise him because he only arrived today.
No one will recognise him.
Because he only arrived today.
Me ma'am will identify him as me.
Will she?
Oh, you know ma'am, Dad. She'll do anything to keep the family together.
Behold, he came as a thief to steal the silver, and Ralph here banged him one over the head.
Ma'am told me, about the silver.
Just a minute. I'm getting confused. I think I get it. What about the Blairs?
The old fool's dead.
Of course. And Mrs. Blair?
She could be the fly in the ointment. Could we buy her off?
Oh, absolutely no chance. She's now the widow and sole heir to the Blair embrocation fortune. And the terrible thing I realise now is she thinks you're her son.
Me?
Well, Ralph.
So if I'm Ralph, I've got a woman who thinks she's my mother and is rich.
Loaded.
Well, I'm Ralph.
You're an opportunist, but under the
No,
circumstances...
I'm not. I just grabbed the main chance.
Now, wait a minute, Frank. Why does Mrs. Blair think that Ralph is her son?
Another little peccadillo of my youth.
Art thou the father of all living?
Remember not the sins of my youth nor my transgression. I took her just one night to the lime pits, and behold, she arose a mother in Brinkton.
Unto thee shall all flesh come, dear.
But why does she think that Ralph is her son?
Oh, he has a birthmark similar to one of mine on...
When did she see it?
Oh, when he went off with... No! Wait a minute, I suppose that was you!
How much is she worth?
I must say, Frank, this all seems most satisfactory. We don't even have to get a new curate.
I never thought to have a son go into the business.
So, what do we do now?
Explain it to me, ma'am.
I'll go and get her.
Frank exits.
He Ralph could be her son, you know. He's got a mark just like mine on his... You don't think he could be, do you? I always wanted a brother.
Who knows?
But now I've killed him.
Oh, don't worry. There are biblical precedents.
There's great comfort in religion.
Oh, do you think we should have left her like that?
Ah, she'll be all right. Now, look.
Johnny, what are you doing here? Oh, it is good to see you.
And this is my dad.
Oh, did you tell him?
I was glad to meet him.
You mustn't think the worse of me.
How could I ever do that, ma'am?
Now,
Oh my God, who's that on the floor?
that's what I wanted to tell you about.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, it makes your flesh creep, doesn't it?
No, ma'am.
Who is it?
It's an intruder.
Behold, he became as a thief in the
To
night.
steal the silver.
How did he get in?
It is a good question. Through those French doors.
Frank goes over and unlocks the French door.
Ralph forgot to lock them when he came in.
Oh, how careless. And now a man is dead.
It is a lesson to us all.
I thought you locked them, Frank.
Now, ma'am, how would you like it if we could all live here?
Well, I do live here.
Yes, but with me.
Here? Oh, it'd be lovely.
The three of us under one roof at last. You, me, and my dad.
Oh, not him, Johnny. You don't understand.
I do understand. I don't mean old George. I mean this dad, my real dad.
You mean we could all live together?
Yes.
My family, together at last.
Under the roof of Holy Mother Church.
Oh, it's lovely.
But there's one thing you'd have to do.
Yes.
You'd have to tell the police that were me.
Who?
That.
You.
Yes.
But,
And you'd have to call me Ralph.
oh, I'm not too keen on that. It's a bit fancy.
Then I'll have to go to jail.
Jail?
Look, ma'am, this here intruder is me. You told me about the chapel silver and I tried to steal it.
Oh. But what about George?
Well, if I'm identified by my own mother, they'd never bother with...
I always knew you'd come to a bad end, Johnny. Why are you dressed as a vicar?
The clothes are in the wash.
You don't mean those clothes I found here earlier?
Uh-huh.
Awful. You should be ashamed. I shall have strong words with your father.
Everything will be all right now. You'll be able to do my washing as often as you like.
Once your trunks arrive.
My trunks?
Yes, once your trunks arrive.
Now, what's to be done about Mrs. Blair?
Oh, yes, the poor dear. Losing her husband.
Ah, but finding a son.
A son? Where?
Ma'am, the poor woman suffered so, we thought it would be nice if I were to be her son.
She has no family.
But you're my son.
Of course, and I always will be.
But the poor dear lady hasn't got anyone in the world.
All the same.
It would only be a question of your not telling her that John, Ralph here, that is, was your son, if she ever came to visit.
A very, very Christian act.
Well, I suppose. Whose idea was it?
John's here. Oh, Ralph's, I mean.
Oh, that's my boy. Always thoughtful towards his mother.
You mean?
Poor Mrs. Blair. And her left with nothing in the world but all that money.
Shall I go and call her?
No. Why don't you go and break it to her gently that you've discussed it with me and we think I am her son? You better tell her that I've killed the intruder too.
And that'll give us time to get Johnny properly dressed.
Right.
Mrs. Ash turns to Ralph's corpse.
It's all right, Johnny. I'll get you clothes.
I'll keep Mrs. Blair occupied whilst you sneak the clothes out of the kitchen.
Well, would you care for a drink?
I thought you weren't supposed to.
Ah, but now.
Whatever my dad says in this house goes. Besides, we want to keep you in your prime, don't we?
We'll discuss that later. Do you think you'll make a good curate?
It's just a question of doing what I'm told, isn't it? You can help me. Mind you, I don't believe in
Oh, that doesn't matter. Most people don't believe in a god. They just like to be told what they should be doing. We're just here to insulate them against thought a bit. It's not hard work. My brother's the brains in my family, though there are times when I wonder. He's in politics, so I'm in the church. Frank, your father, did most of the work of getting me this position.
Didn't he fancy it for himself?
Oh, no chance, my dear boy. He has the brain, but not the background. Whoever heard of a bishop who'd worked at sea?
Suppose you're right.
Mrs. Ash comes back carrying John's clothes.
Here you go.
Can we help?
Oh, no, no, no. I've been doing this ever since you were a baby. Oh, you were a lovely baby. Oh, Johnny, look at your boots. They're filthy. You think I should clean them?
No!
Oh, no, I suppose not. Now, where are his little knickers?
He weren't wearing any.
John, how many times have I told you? And now you've had that accident. Here, help me with this thing.
They pull the...
There. Oh, it breaks my heart to think of him coming to this. My poor little Johnny. If only he'd had a proper family life.
Well, Mary, here he is, the hero of the hour, the one who stopped this villain escaping with the Suddingdean silver. Our son.
Our son.
Ma'am, mother.
I don't know what to say. My boy. Ralph, let me hold you. But you have a moustache.
It grows very quickly.
I can't tell you all what this means to me. I so often wondered what had happened to you. I tried to find you, but Mummy and Dad...
Are they...
Oh, my poor darling boy.
Are they...
I have to tell you, my poor boy, no sooner to find a mother and father than to lose both your grandparents. At least on my side, Frank.
And on my side as well, I'm afraid.
Still, I expect he'll be able to find some somewhere.
And I will be able to visit you, though the Frank has pointed out that it probably would be better if we kept all this rather quiet in view of your position and your father's. But I will be able to visit, won't I, Your Grace?
Of course, dear lady. Any friend of the Southingdean windows.
Oh, I shall continue with Cuthbert's donation, of course.
Any friend of the windows is a friend of Southingdean.
How much for the windows, Dad?
He is, after all, the only son of his mother, and she a widow.
And as soon as I've got Cuthbert's will all settled, I'm sure I'll be able to arrange some kind of annuity, Ralph.
I think this all calls for a drink. This woman is full of good works.
Well, on this occasion, just a small one for everyone.
All agree to drinks. Gerald parts the curtains with his hand and looks out.
The night is far spent. The day is at hand. Oh, thanks, Frank. I suppose we should think about phoning what's-his-name, our friend down at the police station.
Burgess, yes. Let all things be done decently and in good order. But first, if everyone is ready, I should like to propose a toast. The family, the sanctity of family life.
The family. The sanctity of family life.
Slow curtain. End of Act 2.